Dear older women, could you describe womanhood in your late 60s, early 70s? I have noticed a big shift myself, turning 30. I was wondering what revelations about yourself do you encounter once you're older and perhaps, when free of expectations. Did you learn anything new about yourself? How do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about yourself as a woman? How is your confidence, and do you ever think about death? Please subscribe and activate the beside the subscribe button to get a notification. Share your own story in the comments section below. I think each experience is unique, but for me, I was a college student then had children, so I was not seriously into my career until I was in my 40s. In my 50s, like most people, I acquired health problems. In my 60s, I am distracted from worrying about my own health problems by the deaths of the last of the generation above me, and even many of my contemporaries are now dying. But there is also a light. My newest grandchild was born 2 weeks ago, so I find myself thinking a lot about the future and finding ways to make things better for those who come after me. So as I've gotten older, I've started to feel better about myself, both with regard to professional confidence, but also as my focus has shifted from myself to the world as a whole. I know I don't have a lot of time left and want to contribute as much as I can to those around me. Really interesting, thanks for sharing. I surround myself with people from all age groups. I try new things all the time. Took up rock climbing at 50. I'm 60 and have zero health issues. I set myself up with a decent pension and am now free to do whatever I want. I'm close with my kids and grandkids. The way I figure it, I have 30 years of playtime ahead of me. I have little desire for things, but I chase experiences. Keep track of your friends. You will cherish those who knew you from way back when. Don't hesitate to cut toxic people out of your life. Set yourself up now for a financial future. Don't spend too much time or money on things. Reminded me of my great-grandma, amazing woman, played tennis into her 90s, until she got sick and physically couldn't anymore. She was so lively and active even in her later years. I miss her a lot. I am mid-60s, widowed, and didn't manage to have children. In my late 40s my health began to slip. I had 2 kinds of cancers, arthritis, and asthma. I did alright because my husband looked after me and we were partners in life. We each had unique strengths and contributed according to our abilities. He peeping adored me, and me him. I was losing weight to better enjoy travel, hobbies, and sex. Life was charmed. We had friends, but didn't socialize heavily outside our burner and fire tribe communities. I joyfully did not give a peep about the opinions of others. A hard-won lifelong battle. I created art and fun projects, planned trips, and threw myself into gardening with my husband as the strong back. I even had a couple art shows, when I was 61 and he was 58. He passed suddenly from cancer. We had always thought it would be me, as I had a series of major surgeries in the 2 years before. We were set with insurance, including one which paid the mortgage, and I had recently signed us up for cremation insurance. We had done the little packets from the funeral home. Such planning paid off in all the worst and best ways. Peep, I am the lowest rung of middle class, right above low income, so that's a relief. I own my house, but must pay others to maintain it, since I have never been able to drive and most of our friends do not live nearby. I get lonely. I have never had close friends, and as a military brat, a veteran, and a military spouse, I moved too often to making lasting local ties. No church or grandkids to bond with the neighbor ladies. No kids. I have a few acquired kids, but they are busy with their own lives and don't come to see me often. One does, runs errands with me, and we get a monthly massage together. However, I can go days without speaking to another human. My parents and that generation are all gone. I have one sibling left and we were never close. I have a lively FB life for what that's worth, a lot to me. I do travel, on will when things open up, The type of travel and destinations have changed quite a bit now. I am solo. No more long road trips and journeys to national parks and remote corners of the country. Now I look for city travel, where I can use Lyft, or hang out by pools in warm places. My health is a mess and I don't care much. My don't give a peep is not joyful now. Being widowed does things to your brain and it is not pretty. I stay alive because I am stubborn. And I have cats. I have zero belief in an afterlife and do not expect to be reunited with my love, but neither am I willing to let go of what I have left of this life. I'm just not overly enthusiastic about it. Staying out of assisted living is a goal, I guess. My bucket list went to hell. No motivation now. I have already done much. So that's cool. I have zero interest in dating. The new world is scary. My widowed soul has lost thousands of dollars to romance scammers. I refuse to fall prey to any of that. My physical landscape is unique from all the surgeries. So intimacy has a learning curve and I am not interested in teaching anyone how to approach my body. I cannot remarry. I would lose most of my income and my healthcare. So, solo it is. This is not joyous. Although some days are better than others. I am settling into my role as a witchy crone. My life is sufficient. Yes, that is depressing. Yes, I am working on not being so depressing and depressed. No, I do not want advice. I'm a know-it-all. No, really, I have an abundance of education and knowledge and experience, for all the good it does. I don't think your description is depressing. It sounds real. Thank you. I second that. Thanks for sharing your experiences. It means a lot. I'm over 60 by not much. The change I've noticed in myself has been since I retired. I have a pee-pee attitude towards people who don't treat me right. I put up with them for years. Not just coworkers and bosses, but family. I find that I'd rather be alone than with those people. I'm also single, and unwilling to date a man who doesn't make me happy, so, I'm ornery in my old age. Haha, yes, ornery at 62, and I have the attitude that I'm not settling ever again. The sun shines on single women just fine. I'm glad I found this particular wisdom in my 40s then. For me, my mid-20s. I'm currently 25. My mom once told me that even though she gets older physically and her situation changes, she more or less always feels like the same person mentally, like she still more or less feels like she's the same person she was when she was in her 20s, just a bit wiser. It really stuck with me. My aunt and uncle who were there said they agreed, and I've asked other older adults the same thing and they agreed. I can say it feels that way to me in my 30s. But it's wild that you still feel mostly the same in your 60s/70s. I'm 73 and in my heart and brain I'm still 22. I'm 22 and it made me get a little emotional thinking about this. Thanks for sharing. You sound like a cool lady. I'm in my late 50s. Not long ago I went through a box of old letters from when I was a teen to early 20s, and I read them through different, more wise eyes. I didn't understand how controlling my boyfriend was. As a mature woman, a crone, I feel more confident about my imperfect body than I did when I was young and could turn heads. I find it freeing to have passed the last people date. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Amy Schumer. Older women are invisible, they say. I don't mind. I still put myself together before I go out. I just don't need anyone's approval but my own. Having been through many deaths of elders and peers, I do think of my own death. I have lived long enough that I wouldn't feel robbed if my life were to end soon. I worry more about developing an illness and having a poor quality of life than death. I guess in a way, you stop worrying about being liked, so you get to be more authentic. Do you feel like your relationships with friends and family gain from it? More authentic, yes. And not afraid to disagree or speak up, politely. Having life experience and learning so much the hard way has built me up. I am much more responsible than when I was younger, so relationships with family are better than ever. I recently hit the brakes on an old friendship. because it was feeling toxic to me. I couldn't be a free therapist anymore. This went on for decades before I decided that my dear friend was taking advantage of me. It took me a long time to learn how to say no to people, and to unlearn the need to please everyone. Great question. Would love to hear child-free women's thoughts too. Same here. Me too. I am 61. I have simply stopped caring what others think of me. I want to be comfortable, not fashionable. I want to eat the piece of chocolate cake instead of starving myself. Sometimes I take a day. YouTube. I don't know what I'm going to make for dinner. Why don't you bring home a pizza? Yep, I forgot my bra. Well, I'm sure people will get over it. I sure did. Smiling, thank you for your wise words, awesome lady. Since not working, I have learned that I am very lazy, although that may be current events, because I used to have an active social life. I worry far less about how I look, my body, etc., and am relaxed about who I am, so I don't notice, or ignore, social expectations. I am removed from the male gaze, which is liberating. I am single and prefer that. I have a large group of close friends to travel, party, eat and drink with. I think about death to a certain extent, but more in relation to my family. I have been having a big sort out so I don't leave a mess behind and have all my paperwork in one place, but it is still a very abstract thing. I am 67. This is very interesting and also enlightening. I'll be 29 on July and I feel like I'm never finishing discovering myself. I'm constantly changing depending on the environment I'm in. I feel literally different. I've been told that one must remain the same because that's called personality, but I guess we are all different and that's relieving. Thanks for sharing. If I were to be asked how old I feel inside, the answer would be late 20s. My mother said the same thing in her 80s. However, I do not think one should remain the same, because we do grow and change. I am actually very different as I age. I'm so much more relaxed now. But then again I have had a lot of pressures taken off. 67-year-old here, and yes, I think about death often, especially during this pandemic, but I am so confident in myself and generally have a great outlook. I know I'm not beautiful, my hair has thinned, my waistline will never be slim again and I obviously have wrinkles, but, guess what? It doesn't really bother me much anymore other than quickly passing thoughts which I laugh about with my friends. Some people complain about being invisible, but I enjoy not attracting attention one way or the other. Do I have regrets in life? You bet. But they don't consume me. I try to have fun every day. I eat all the delicious food, drink cocktails and dance to classic rock, and don't give a speep that my skinny jeans are no longer in style. For me, life is better as an old lady than it was as a young one. Alert. Skinny jeans are totally still in style, at least, I think they are. Source, 32 years / gal who has never given in female about what's in style, XD. I've been told we all must wear cropped wide leg jeans now, lol, not gonna happen on this shorty. I've learned I never want to cater to another man. I did that for decades for a man whom I adored. I devoted myself to him and our children unreservedly. It felt like the commitment was rock solid on both sides, but that was an illusion. I discovered in the end, underneath, he was really somebody else altogether. Either that, or he changed into a different person, unbeknownst to me. I'm not buying into that illusion again. There was a great line in a bad movie I saw once. Love is an emotional adaptation to a biological necessity. That's what I believe now. It's a chemical smoke screen over what's really happening to us as individual animals. Do you regret devoting yourself to married life or children? I guess my question is, do you feel like the love for your children is a smoke screen too? No, my love for my children is bedrock. I would lay down my life for them, gladly. I'm in my late 50s, and have always found life interesting. I have never cared really of people's opinions, was always generally a people's person, with a carefree attitude. mistakenly interpreted as wild, got on with both sexes, but was not onto dating, fell madly in love at 16 and a half, came as a shock to my family, pregnant at 18, mother before 19, and we were married when I was 20, were together for 30 plus, with 3 children, was still madly in love, note, was, till the cheating took place, stalking. I became the bouncing ball to his violent abuse. He became a monster. I was done. I have no regrets, but rather am grateful for many of things that I have passed through so far. Recently have been reflecting on my life. I know that I have entered into another phase in life, a new beginning. My children are now adults. Gives me time. I laugh a lot. Still have my childhood friends, close with my families, so we have daily contact. I feel totally privileged and grateful for the big and little things. I have faced difficulties I never expected due to the separation. Definitely remain positive. Enjoyed working from home when I was in my 20s and 30s. Believe I can do it again, but differently, more careful. I guess. Have always been a hard worker. COVID has kept me indoors. Look at it as a resting period. Believe to everything there is a season, and my season is coming. I guess I'm a little too young for question, at 59. But in general I don't feel that my personality has changed fundamentally or that I had any big self-revelations, other than realizing in my 30s that I'd let my sense of self-worth get way too bound up in my career. I've had the same experience that many people have, regardless of gender. I care a hell of a lot less about what other people think of me. That started to kick in around 40, and it's in full flower at this point. I saw you ask in a couple places about being single or childless. I am both and 100% happy with that state of affairs. If I wasn't, I'd have made a push to do something about it many years ago. I don't worry about death. I do worry about infirmity. Being dead is easy. Being unable to take care of yourself is not. However, being single in my old age is a trade-off I chose. I wouldn't wish years of relationship ups and downs and child rearing on my younger self just for a chance of having someone around to feed me when I can't do it myself. I'm oversimplifying drastically. But hopefully you understand what I mean. I came to the realization that I cared too much about trivial matters, like worrying about what others thought about me. But I also now enjoy telling my kids and grandkids that I lived in the days where we would wave hello when passing cars on the road. We still do that where I live. Same lol, at least on back roads. I get a little offended if I wave and they don't wave back lmao. I'm in my mid-50s. In your mid-40s, your give a speak factor starts to plummet. You get comfortable in your own skin. You may not like what you see in the mirror, most women do not, even when we are young and beautiful, but you learn to accept it. I wear sweatpants and sneakers more and makeup less. I call and visit my parents more. I'm turning 40 this year and the sweatpants and less makeup has already become a thing. I am loving reading all these responses. I'm 62 and still work. Been working since I was 21. I'm divorced. I'm very happy at this stage. I went through all the angst at younger ages of trying to find love and get married, trying to figure out what to do with my career and climb the corporate ladder. I've been through so much speep in life at work and personally that I can handle anything. The older I get, the less I give a speep about what anyone thinks, and I don't put pressure on myself to look perfect for some ideals society imposes on women. I also became much more experimental sexually after age 50 and had the best sex of my life. So far my health is very good. Life is good. Hope it stay that was for a long time. I want to enjoy myself. I'm 52, raised 3 kids who are in their 20s and 30s and have a grandson I adore. I finished college, married with a baby, and started teaching almost right after graduation. I had my 2 boys later. I was a good teacher, but it always stressed me out. And running my household and taking care of everything and everyone was really difficult. I wished I'd taken the time to find out what I really wanted to do and took more time off taking care of my kids, but my ex-husband was pretty controlling and insisted I worked. I wished I'd taken the time to really get to know myself, to be strong enough to find my own way without caving into what others thought I should do. I wish I'd stood up for myself more, to not have given a flying frick what anyone else thought. Now that I'm older, the freedom I feel to be myself is amazing. I do have chronic health issues and was a smoker for many years and lost 120 pounds after my divorce. I definitely wished I had taken better care of myself, but I was just trying to survive and get laundry done and cook and work, etc. Now I see how ridiculous some of the things I thought were important back then, keeping up appearances, pleasing family instead of myself. I put so much pressure on myself that was totally unnecessary in retrospect. I wish I'd had the guts back then to be myself, but I suppose I didn't know who I was anyway. I met my ex-husband in high school and was pregnant 5 months later, so I never got to be alone and just do me. I'm grateful I can do that now. There's a sassy sort of spirit that finds you as you get older, in my opinion, as you realize what really mattered and what didn't. Learning to love yourself, take care of yourself, and put yourself first makes everything better. Wish I would have done it sooner, but I'm so thrilled to be here now. I'm still attractive for my age. No one guesses I'm 52. I have had lovely love affairs with great sex, do all kinds of things on my own, like kayaking and traveling, and I'm still working on figuring out what I want to be when I grow up. The older I get, the more I appreciate so many little things about life, because you see how precious just that is the older you get. Thanks for this question. I have enjoyed reading the responses. Slut-shaming in the 80s was not good for our self-efficiency and our self-esteem. We could have evolved faster if we didn't guilt ourselves then. We are strong, intelligent and powerful, more or as much as men. Go for it. I finally came into my own in my late 40s, graduated college, got out of a 20-year abusive marriage. I've had a few relationships over the past 10 years. I'm 58 now. But I've been alone for over a year now. The longer I'm alone, the more I'm okay with it. I'm healthy, no issues. I don't wait for men to do things for me anymore, but jump into learning new things myself. This weekend I'm rebuilding a set of front steps. I'm educating myself about money and rebuilding my safety net. The biggest thing is that I just don't give a peep what people think of me. It's very liberating. I'm 60. I've had so many unexpected revelations about myself that it has been quite challenging, but I have worked very hard at self-acceptance, self-compassion, as well as acting in alignment with my own values as much as I could. This has meant a road less traveled. Almost 10 years ago my husband began a relationship with another woman, and it triggered every imaginable negative judgment about my worth as a discarded wife at 52 with no kids and no career and a history of mental health problems. So I went deep into my personal process, and confronted all of those things, released those judgments, and more honestly, it was a shamanic journey, and in turn it triggered a Kundalini return. Since then, I've slowly been working towards a vision I was given to travel, connect with women dealing with specific issues, and build community. I would love to have partnership on this mission, but nobody else wants to go with me. I know I will meet people along the way. I think about death a lot. My perspective on life and death is quite the minority in the US, but it informs everything I do. I remember many past lives, going way back to pre-human essence. We all have this capacity. I've worked through a lot of trauma to wake up this part of myself. Time is running out for humanity, though, and there are so many things that need addressing. I've learned that I can contribute the most when I am walking my talk and when I am working shoulder to shoulder. The biggest problem that older women have is isolation. I am meant to do something about this, on both the small and larger scales. Another reason I think about death a lot is my husband was diagnosed with cancer last December, and I came home to help out. He was still a narcissist, so I didn't last very long, and moved 40 minutes away, but I was with him at the end. He died 2 weeks ago, so now I am in the final transition to the next phase of my life. I am exhausted, excited, scared, totally spaced out. My advice is to recognize that all of those distressing thoughts, voices, beliefs, etc., are just that, thoughts, judgments. They are not reality. Unfortunately, they do have the power to create reality, and so it can seem like they are true, but don't take my word for this, really explore the truth of it. A woman unbound by judgments is a wild, succulent, vibrant, magnetic being with powers we are only just beginning to tap. This was beautifully written. Thank you for sharing. Not older, just happy to see this finally didn't end in saying your 30s lol. If you have the choice to say something snarky or be kind, choose to be kind. Also, just love people, the rest is genetic and not much you can do to change that. I married at 19, straight from my dad's house to my husband's. It was just dumb luck that it was a great marriage. At 68, he died and I was on my own for the first time. I have a son, my baby is almost 50, I had a career, a full life. But every decision in my life was made based on us, not me. Everything was a compromise. I now love living alone. I've bought a house, a car. I got what I wanted, not what would work for us. When it came to decor, I realized I had no idea what I wanted. Only what we could both live with. I'm pushing 80 and just meeting myself. I wish I'd taken a few years after high school to become independent, grow up, live on my own. I'd have been a better partner if I'd known myself better. Another fun aspect is I really don't care what anyone thinks anymore at my age. What a burden to put down. Also, due to surgery, meds and age, I'm completely asexual. What a mind blower. I watch movies and I simply don't understand why the characters make such horrible decisions based on lust. It's insane what sex drive makes us do. You become increasingly comfortable with yourself. You take the time to realize that the small stuff is just that, mundane morsels of life that when reconsidered really do not matter. What matters is family, faith, love and appreciation for life's gifts. There's an old saying that youth is wasted on the young. I never understand that until I got older and realized that life has limits and choices have consequences. Take time to appreciate the gifts given. Lastly, take care of your teeth and me on that one. I'm definitely only now just reaching there, peeped stage in life. At 57 years old, time gets more precious, as do those I want in my life. I was never close with my family, but these days, much less. Part of this falls under, peeped life is getting shorter. I'm mid-50s. I decided, some time ago, it's fine if other people don't like me. I like me and that's what matters. On one hand, I've become less tolerant of other people. On the other hand, I can be very understanding and patient in the proper situations. I'm 57 and I find that as I've aged, my confidence has steadily increased. I speak my mind more often respectfully, my boundaries are strong. No is a complete sentence that I'm finally perfectly comfortable with, and I choose quality people to be in my circle. I graduated from nursing school when I was 51. I have a couple of manageable health issues that come with age. I value friends and family more than when I did in my younger years. Unfortunately, it took the sudden deaths of my father, husband, and youngest brother to truly realize that value. I chose to be child-free and I have no regrets about that. What blindsided me out of the blue one day was that it also meant I would have no grandchildren. I'm not in a relationship and I know that can change. I've got some serious grandchildren love stored up and ready to share lol. I think about death but it certainly doesn't consume me. I would strongly encourage people to take care of your physical health while you are younger. Trust me, it catches up to you if you don't. I can't stress this strongly enough. I feel more peaceful and content than I did when I was younger. I have past choices that, in hindsight, I would have chosen differently, but I don't have any significant regrets. Life is good.